Anyway, welcome to the Seminole Historical Society Museum. This is our 10th year. We had an anniversary during Art in the Park to celebrate our 10th year. And we are extremely happy and proud to have this piece of property that the city repurposed an old building a couple times over so that we can have this and have something for our community. So we hope that you enjoy it. Come back another time, walk through tonight. I'm really excited. We've always, maybe every year or so, have had this department come and speak at the museum, and we are tickled because we've got a newbie with us, newbie to us, which is Wesley Wright. And he's originally from Kentucky, I was told, or he told me. So yes, and he moved to Florida in 2018 with his wife and children. His family quickly became part of the local community, with both children attending Indian Rocks Christian School. Colin, he has a son and daughter, Colin and Leah. Colin recently graduated from Florida State. Yes! And his daughter Leah will begin her college journey at the University of Central Florida. Big school, go Knights. I have one daughter that got her master's there, so great schools. And Wesley himself holds a Bachelor of Science in Geography with a minor in City and Regional Planning from Western Kentucky University. Wow. He's a member of the American Planning Association and the Florida Chapter of Planning, and he has a strong track record of fostering thoughtful growth, preserving community character, and building collaborative relationships across public and private sectors. Pretty interesting, pretty cool. So please help me welcome Wesley Wright.
Yes, hey, thank you all. I appreciate it. It's great to be here. One item that I would like to add to that resume, and it brought me back to my childhood, I actually have a rock collection. And I almost have a minor in geology. So I didn't know if I wanted to go the geography route or the geology route. But I do have a fossil and a rock collection, and that brought me back to the old school there. But as Michelle pointed out, my name is Wesley Wright. I'm the Community Development Director for the City of Seminole. I've been with Seminole for 3 years now. I just had my anniversary last month. Prior to that, I was in St. Pete Beach for 5 years. And I will share with you, the grass is greener in Seminole. I'm very happy to be with Seminole, and I'm very happy to be with you all today. I have a short presentation here. I'll go through it. Any questions, comments, and concerns that you have afterwards, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
If you can talk a little louder, though, please.
Most certainly. So, Seminole, the city that you never want to leave. This is an image. This is a phrase that came out of our strategic planning workshop that some of you were probably a part of, that we did about 2 years ago at the community college. So the city you never want to leave is the phrase that came out of that. And there were several strategic goals and policies that came out of that plan that we have implemented and we will continue to implement in the years to come in the strategic plan. The City of Seminole, as you all may or may not be aware, we're located in Pinellas County. Pinellas County is the most densely populated county in the entire state of Florida. So there are over 3,400 people per square mile in Pinellas County, which is the highest. The second populated county is less than half that, and it's Broward County at 1,400 individuals per square mile. So we exceed the count drastically, Pinellas County. The City of Seminole is basically 5 square miles. We're one of 24 cities inside Pinellas County. You have the county, and then you have 23 other cities, including Seminole. So we are probably the 11th largest city inside Pinellas County, with Seminole being 11, and St. Petersburg being the most populated, and Clearwater is the county seat of Pinellas County. So, 5 square miles, that's essentially where in St. Pete Beach, all the barrier islands are every 2 miles or 2 square miles. So we're about 2.5 times that of all the barrier islands to the west of us. And I couldn't fit the whole map on the screen, but you can kind of see it there. And everything in green is the incorporated limits of Seminole. So let's see. I'm sorry, your name, please?
Sue.
Sue, please, let's go to the next slide. This doesn't
It looked like it did work.
Oh, it did work.
just-
Okay, very good. Okay, very good. So, there we go. So, there we go. So, community development is made up of planning and zoning, the building department, as well as code enforcement that everybody loves, or not, if you will. But I'm essentially over zoning, building, and code enforcement. If you have a complaint about tall grass, or debris on the road, or your neighbor's barking dog, I would be the guy to call to help mitigate that concern that you may have. The City of Seminole is broken up into multiple zoning districts. This is a major element in our comprehensive plan. Where we are currently are in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. It's the P in the green area. That is the park area that we're located in. This is zoned public, semi-public area. And the City of Seminole, where I work, is in the middle of the screen, next to the post office. That too is the public, semi-public area. It's blue in the map. It's typically owned by a government entity, is all the blue area on the map. As you probably are aware, the City of Seminole is essentially a plus sign. We have Seminole Boulevard and 113th running north and south on the map. And between those two areas, we have let's see, is this going to work here? Let's see here. So you have the Seminole Mall area and Johnson Boulevard, which is essentially our main street here in Seminole, is zoned commercial general, all in the red. The City Hall is located here next to the post office. And again, here we are at the end of 70th here, right here at the park, adjacent to some public lands. So the City of Seminole is made up of multiple zoning districts ranging from anywhere from residential to a more intense commercial use. So we have multiple residential lots, from very dense lots that are between 113th and Seminole Boulevard, or our larger lot. Our rural areas are in the northwest, north of 102nd, out towards 125th in the northwest portion of the area, or in the very northeast by, and again, I've only been here 3 years or so, but it's near the Cheyenne area, the canal areas, closer towards Starkey Road. We have larger lots in that area. And why that's important is, I know throughout the years, the city residents of Seminole are, I get a lot of phone calls on what can I do on my property? Can I have chickens? Can I have horses on my property? The answer is yes, if your lot is large enough. And those larger lots are the rural estate areas that are typically 3/4 or an acre in size or larger. And that's in the northwest, north of 102nd, or in the far eastern area of the city, out towards Starkey Road. We allow chickens and horses. Basically, you can have 3 per acre. So if you have a half an acre, you can have 1.5 chickens on your lot. And in zoning, we round down. So you can have 1. So whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, you can come to city council and voice your concern for 3 minutes, but it's not going to work because we've already gone through all the logistics and vetted out that this is how we want our city to look. This is the character of our city. And if you want more units, more chicken or horses, you can go elsewhere in the county. Again, the county is made up of, the area is 280 square miles, and we're just 5 square miles of that. You can't have chickens, can't have horses on the beach. So, you can do it in Seminole where appropriate. And that is essentially what zoning does for your property. I thought I'd throw in a typical lot size that many of you all may live in. This is illustrating a corner lot. It has a house on the lot. On the bottom right-hand corner is a driveway. We get many requests for a new driveway on my lot. The driveway has to look and feel a certain way. It has to have flares going out to the road. We can't just go into the road. The driveway, when permitting through my office, I also work with other agencies with the city. Rodney Dew is head of Public Works for city streets. I work with the county as well as the state on state highways dealing with driveways or encroachments onto state or county maintained roads. So our local office deals with a multitude of state and county and local agencies when permitting something on your property. If it's just a fence, we do have rules and regulations in the zoning ordinance that talk about where your fence can go, how tall your fence can be, and the fact that it needs to be placed on your lot. We get a lot of requests for swimming pools. This is an application for a shed in the top left-hand corner here. Depending on the size, that can be placed closer to the lot line than something much larger. It would have to be placed further away. I get many phone calls on a daily basis of what can I and can I not do with my property, or my neighbor's got chickens. How do we work through that exercise or get those chickens off, or are they permitted? This particular lot is small in size. It wouldn't be afforded horses or chickens on the lot. I thought I'd go through a few statistics here, being that the building official as well as 2 building inspectors are work out of our office. I also have 2 permit technicians that take all the phone calls and issue the permits for the building official and the building inspectors who inspect all these projects. Let's see here. So the number of building permits, we've essentially issued just over 1,800 building permits, 1,823 in last year. That's an uptick of nearly 17% from the 1,500 permits that we issued back in 2023. All those permits that we issued have a value just over $62 million, and that's up from what we did back in 2023. One item to note on this chart here is back in 2020, when COVID hit us, in I think in March of 2020, we had let's see, there you go. We had a large uptake of permits in 2020 and 2022. Those permits resulted in a low cost number. We did an extremely large number of small residential projects. We did roof projects, we did window projects, we did AC projects, low cost permits, high permit count, low cost of value based on the value of the permit. So, I think that's kind of interesting. This reflects a low volume, but a high volume of permits. But then we're back in track to 1,800 permits of just over $62 million. We had a very busy year in 2024 with the hurricanes hitting. We had basically the 1-2 punch in Milton and Helene. Our permits are up drastically. So I'm sure you've read many articles or listened to the news of many of the barrier islands in the county trying to issue permits. We too have had an influx of permits. There are 2 main areas that have had an uptick in permits, and it's that where the mayor and several other council members live in Seminole Lake Country Club, as well as in the southeast area of Seminole is the Harbor Lights Mobile Home Park. It's actually in our jurisdiction. It has a St. Petersburg mailing address, but there's about 350 mobile homes in that area that we are issuing zoning permits, not building permits, because they don't qualify for building permits because of the Florida Building Code doesn't regulate manufactured housing, but zoning permits to ensure that the cost to repair the mobile home doesn't exceed that magic number of 50%. The units in Harbor Lights are high value units. They're valued at 120 to 150 plus thousand dollars in that area. We require those residents to get appraisals to determine the value of their unit, which allows us to determine how much repair can be, that unit qualifies for, which is half of the value. We've probably, the majority of the units in Harbor Lights are being repaired, but we have, working with the property owner there, we have demoed probably about 27 manufactured homes. And there's still yet some to come. If you've seen coming over from Bay Pines area, going west, you'll see some in the water there that we're working towards deeming them unsafe and getting them hauled away. And that's a task that doesn't happen overnight. It's working with the property owners, because you've got a landowner, which is different than the manufactured homeowner. That owner may live in Seminole, he may live in Canada. So it's working with individuals and on their time frame and trying to poke and prod a little bit as well. I'm long-winded, Michelle. Let me know if just kind of give me a sign if I'm going too long or whatnot. But I just thought I'd give you the majority of our permits that we issue in Seminole are residential building permits. We're heavy residential and light on commercial, with just under 800 permits for non-residential. In 2024, we issued a total of 28 single-family home permits, and the majority of those are north of Park Boulevard in the Seminole Lake, not Seminole Lake, but in the Towns Lake development behind the Conrad Mobile Home Park on the north side of Park Boulevard. A developer by the name of Michael Willenbacher developed 34 units. That's a subdivision I'll showcase, as well as on the other side of Seminole Boulevard, the Seminole Isles is probably one of our higher priced out condos in the $800,000 and $900,000 range. The Toll Brothers has developed many lots there for those condos. So those are some of the 28 single-family homes that have been developed in Seminole. Code enforcement. This is a handout that we have essentially dealing with residential code enforcement or non-residential code enforcement. We get a lot of complaints for vehicles, whether they have broken windows or they don't have the appropriate tags on their property, debris or any items that shouldn't be outside, like refrigerators or, if you have your Christmas lights up too long after. We have codes essentially for everything. We are more so reactive than we are proactive. With that said, though, the City of Seminole has hired their first full-time code enforcement officer, and he works in my office. He's been there for about 30 days, and it's going from one full-time to what we used to have as two part-time. But code enforcement is very busy. Regulate where you can park. You can't park over a sidewalk. You got to park in your driveway. If there is a sidewalk, you have to make a note for that. We get a lot of calls for people having trailers that extend into the right of way, over into off your property into the right of way. So that's something that we can address. And if you have items that are unsightly or inoperable vehicles, if they don't have the tags, farm animals, something that I've already gone over, based on your lot size and what it's known. Farm animals are allowed, but we look at the acreage and we look at the count, and I've been known to go out and count chickens and hens, and a word that we don't use in Kentucky that is in the zoning code that I had to look up is we allow ungulate animals. Do you know what an ungulate animal is?
No, not never.
A hooved.
Oh.
I think that's just a fancy word that planners and attorneys get together and we regulate. We don't regulate chickens, but we regulate ungulate animals. And it's a hooved animal or a claw. I didn't know that either. So anyway, if you have any neighbors that have ungulated animals, I have business cards here. Give me a call and we'll work it out. We get a lot of calls for RVs, boats, campers on the right-of-way, which we do allow as long as you're packing it to go or unloading it after a trip. We do allow it, but we don't allow it, being staked up and out for long extended periods of time. People cannot get by on our narrow roads that we have in the city. We also look at site distance. We want to make sure when you're pulling out of a non-residential business that you can see looking to the left or looking to the right. These are code enforcement complaints that we've had in the past. We also regulate clothing boxes. So, these items here are only allowed on public or semi-public areas or in churches. So if they're located in the Starbucks shopping center or in Big Lots or something like that, it wouldn't be allowed. You need to take those items to a church or to a local thrift store, and we chase these on a monthly basis throughout the city. What happens with these? People locate them out there, they get at the base of the unit. The people that put them out there, they don't empty it enough. It gets wet, it gets mildew, and it becomes an eyesore in the community. Light pollution is another big thing. Something that's very difficult in dealing with light pollution. If you've noticed, we have 5.2 square miles in Seminole, but the county is intermingled as well as other municipalities like Largo and Clearwater and even St. Pete, that we have different rules and regulations for Seminole than the county does or that other municipalities do. Sometimes the county lights onto our residents, affects their livelihood, and we can require them to shield it. Working with another jurisdiction, that could be problematic in some cases. We do regulate vending. So vending in our parks like this is not allowed. You cannot vend up and down Seminole Boulevard, whether it's an ice cream or a hot dog stand. Vending is not allowed. We only allow the ice cream truck or vending of hot dogs or what have you in conjunction with a special event. The Publix can have an ice cream truck or a hot dog stand or a gas station on a case-by-case basis. I think we regulate it up to 4 times a year, every 3 months, as long as they're not impeding pedestrians, car traffic, or taking up required parking. But we can allow businesses to have a food truck on a case-by-case basis, but not set up like a yard sale every day, 365 days out of the year. Let's see, code enforcement procedures. So in the city of Seminole, like in other municipalities that I've worked with, believe it or not, or believe it, we are very friendly. We like to leave Hershey kisses on people's property, say please, say thank you, and work with individuals until it's time not to work with individuals. So we have created a green card procedure where we will give green cards morning after morning after morning. That's good for the individual that may have the chickens or the tall grass, but that may not be good for the neighbors that are dealing with that time after time again. So we put together a 10-step process. We will take you to code enforcement that meets essentially once a month on the 3rd Wednesday of every month if we can't work out an arrangement to comply. We try to move benchmarks or set the goalposts and allow people to achieve it. If you have tall grass and a car and you've removed the grass and still working on the car, that looks like progress. We'll work with you until it's time not to work with you. We do have about 30 liens that are recorded, and the fines do run daily, anywhere from $5 up to $250 per day, depending on the violation, whether it's tall grass or we do a lot of junk and debris on properties. Now the good stuff. So I'm going too fast here. So let's see, your planning and zoning. So of the 28 homes that we permitted, many of those are in the town's Long Bayou. This was developed by Michael Willenbacher. This is 34 units. This is essentially completely built out. This is behind the Conrad Mobile Home Park. Back in 2021, we rezoned the back half of the Conrad Mobile Home Park, which sits on the north side of Park Boulevard. We rezoned it for 34 units for sale. These are single-family homes, and it's pretty much built out. These units are going for about $800,000 apiece. This is private roadway development, so all the roads are maintained by the HOA, 34 units, and it's a very nice unit. They are proposing a gate that's not up yet. This is just some renderings that I've taken. Let's see. Okay, here you go. Another development, this is 64 units on the east side of Seminole Boulevard. It's Valor Preserve. This is owned by the Housing Authority. So this is a mix of veteran-approved units as well as low-income units that received a grant through the county. This is completely built out. It's private development, private roads. It's on the east side. It's at the 9500 block. You all would know it as the former Women's Hospital. It's a 13-acre piece of property. This property actually went before the city council back in 2022, and they wanted to enter into a contract or a development agreement with the city to have more than 64 units. They wanted relief from our standards that we had to develop more than 64 units, to develop the units closer together, they needed variances. The council didn't think this was the highest and best use for the 13 acres that is adjacent to Lake Seminole, so the council actually denied the plan, where they were proposing more units than what they had, but they were still able to develop the property as a use by right, meeting the letter of the law, meeting all the standards in our development code, whether it's landscaping, density, how far the buildings needed to be, and the maximum density they could get was 64 units versus something greater than what they were proposing. So the development still was allowed to go through, but they had to meet every T and cross and dot every I. Something else that you're probably seeing on at this 8700 block is the Suncoast Chrysler dealership. If I can get this to change here. So this is a dealership. The existing dealership is basically on the left-hand side of the screen. So what's going up is a new addition, a 4-bay addition for the maintenance and the cleaning of vehicles, as well as a 3-car parking garage on the right or the east side of the development. This is essentially a $20 million development that the Schmidt family is doing on the north side of Park Boulevard. This actually got approved through a development agreement where the city essentially received more landscaping than what the code allows. The city got to opine in the elevations. What does it look like? The color tones, everything to the east-hand side. And essentially what they got was they got more height than what was required by the zoning code. I think we worked with them on drainage and retention. They got relief from our drainage and retention standards that they didn't have to meet the letter of the law. They have an underground drainage retention system in the parking lot, and as long as that met the state requirements, we were okay with the design. We had to give them relief from that, and what the city got out of it was more landscaping, and we got, the city manager and myself worked with the developer on how the building's going to look. The first submittal, my city manager said it looked like a battleship. It was gray and it was not very pleasing to the eye, and the design that they have out there is much nicer than what was initially proposed. So here's some pictures. These are older pictures of the parking structure going up. This will probably be completed at the end of this year, first part of next year. Just north of here, so we had a 1960 four-pump gas station that was at the southwest corner of Ridge Road and Park Boulevard. This project went through a development agreement. They needed relief from the setback, so the store, this is completely built. You can see it on your way out when you go out the park, take a left. This is completely built. They needed relief from the building setback lines adjacent to the condos here to the west, as well as the apartment complex to the south. We have a 20-foot setback. So through a development agreement or a contract, the city worked with them. We got to pick out the stone, the color elevations, and how the building looks. The monument sign, typically gas stations want, tall 25, 30-foot price signs, and we worked with them to get a 6-foot tall monument sign and a lot more attributes. So we went from a 1960, if you'll remember, the curb cut is a driveway entrance. We ended up with two, one in the southeast corner and one in the southwest corner. Prior to that, back in 1960, up until 2022, the entire site was a free-for-all. You could come and go at any location, and you weren't channelized into the bottom right or into the top left, and the site functions much better now. So, and we also got a connection in the southeast all the way to the apartment complex. So we're thinking about connectivity of the road network when we're developing these agreements. So I think this turned out great. The landscaping looks good as well. And can't forget about the Chick-fil-A, so I'm sure everybody's familiar, except for on Sunday when you go to Chick-fil-A. We upgraded it from the one lane all the way around to where the initial design of the Chick-fil-A, if you'll remember, we had the problem of all the vehicles backing out onto Park Boulevard. You couldn't go straight or east on Park Boulevard, and you really couldn't make that right-hand turn. The initial design of Chick-fil-A only allowed for 10 vehicles to be in Chick-fil-A at one time. And we allowed it, we essentially 2.5 times the capacity with the 2 lanes in and the 1 lane out, where you can have much more queuing at Chick-fil-A. That's the design we got. We gave them relief from the parking standards. We created some parallel parking on the left-hand side, and then some angled parking, and then also we gave a little more parking here behind the Dairy Queen. Being on this slide here, actually, and I don't have a slide to share with you, I forgot to put this in the presentation, but this is the third tenant that's on this 6-acre piece of property. So the Chick-fil-A is shared by the Dairy Queen, it's shared by the AutoZone, and then we have the vacant 3 acres that is between the Frontier building and AutoZone. That's going to be developed. The site plan's already been approved. City Council already approved a development agreement for a 4-story, climate-controlled, extra space storage facility at that location. So there's going to be two buildings, one by AutoZone, and the second one is going to be a 4-story building behind AutoZone and Dairy Queen there. So you may not like storage warehousing, but that is essentially the only use that could have gone on Park Boulevard, dealing with the capacity of that roadway. Park Boulevard is a level F level of service for Park Boulevard. Essentially, no additional traffic can go on to Park Boulevard unless modifications are made by additional lanes or turning lanes added, that you can't have any more retail or traffic at this location on Park Boulevard, by Seminole and 113, because it's a level F. Storage warehouse is essentially 0 traffic. People come intermittently, and it's not like a Chick-fil-A or like an AutoZone throughout the day. So those are items that we look at when approving the use. It's a low impact use. The building will look a lot different than what your typical extra space storage looks like in that of the green. It'll look more like the Mediterranean revival theme that we have for Seminole, which we incorporated into the design for the gas station as well as the Seminole Mall and other developments. We have this Mediterranean revival theme, this color tone with the brick facades, the stone facades, and different building features that have been incorporated into that design. Another big project that's underway is where the mayor gets her hair did, is at the northwest corner of Starkey Road and Park Boulevard. This is a 1980 shopping center where the former Big Lots was, that now has moved on, and we moved in O'Reilly there. This shopping center was built under the umbrella of the county. The proposal was to essentially demolish about 16,000 square feet of this area and give a facelift to the north-south portion along Starkey Road here to the existing shopping center. So here's the McDonald's, Park Boulevard, and then this is 90th Street. Right here, it all backs up to the Zom-E shopping center right here. This development was approved, and what's going in here is a new Circle K gas station. It's going to be 14-pump gas station to catch all the traffic that's going westbound on Park Boulevard there. They have an existing entrance here, an entrance here, and an entrance here on 90th. We worked with them to essentially consolidate all three of these entrances to one entrance on 90th, so all the traffic will go out. And then we've also required, currently, you can exit 90th here, and you can go eastbound, or you can go eastbound here, or you can go westbound. The modification will be made. We'll put in a traffic item here. It's actually called a pork chop that will prohibit people from making a left-hand turn here. This is a very interesting intersection. It's a very dangerous intersection. So you will not be able to make a left here. You'll have to go west to make a U-turn onto Park Boulevard once the Circle K gets constructed. The plans have already been approved, but the site plan has been approved, but the building plans have yet to be submitted for the Circle K. So this is also, because the shopping center was developed in 1980, there's essentially zero landscaping. Any landscaping that was installed, it's all dead or dying. So the city council negotiated with the applicant, and we got more landscaping than the code requires. In return, they were allowed to keep much of their parking area. They have too much pavement on the parking area, so they needed a variance or relief to our pavement standard. So we gave some give there in an effort to get more landscaping along Starkey Road. And then we got some hedges here along 90th Street. And then this is essentially where the Circle K is going to go. The pumps are going to be out here. It's going to be heavily landscaped above and beyond what the code requires. So you're still going to have a main entrance here off of Starkey Road. You're going to have one entrance versus currently there are three entrances onto 90th, and then you got the McDonald's right here. So we went from the Big Lots to that of the O'Reillys. Again, we're trying to pull in the Mediterranean revival earth tones, the stone, to tie in the whole entire shopping center. Before it was all a mismatch. The Circle K will essentially match, tying in the whole property. They've already done upgrades to the roof in the bottom left and added the stone, rewrapped all the columns that are on the existing shopping center. A lot of the non-conforming signs, some of the signs are 25, 30 feet in height that have been out there since 1980. A lot of that signage has come down where they're they're 20 feet in height, and there's another sign that's probably going to be about 10 feet in height. So the signs are going to look a lot better and look a lot nicer than what we had out there prior. Just some more shots here. And of course, this is under construction. These pictures are a few weeks old. but the silt fence and the barriers are still up, but they're working on improving this area here. So another development is we have a small mom and pop shop. This is actually behind the shopping center. It's on 90th. It's a 7,500 square foot lot where the owner wants to develop a marine shop. It's a 2 overhead doors. This is on 90th behind the O'Reillys or the big lots. And this needed a development agreement because the lot was too small. He couldn't comply with all of our drainage requirements. So we entered into an agreement. The city council got a bite of the apple in working with him for the look and feel of the building to add stone elements, architectural features. This is the Mediterranean revival look that we're trying to do throughout the entire city of Seminole. So we got increased landscaping, this is the transition area from the commercial Starkey Road to the Zomhi, and then to the north you have residential. This is a transition area from commercial to residential. This is a transition to, a mixed-use development. You've got, this will be, we regulated the hours of operation, no parking on the street. You can only use it 5 days out of the week, and the owner was amenable to that. He was open to that. That location is right here. So you've got the shopping center there on the right-hand side. You've got Zomhi here on the far left, that detention basin. You've got residential to the north up here. So it's in this particular area here. So you've got the doctor's office here, and again, here's the intersection. So all these entrances will be consolidated to one, and 90th Street will look a lot better here in the months to come. And I think that's all I have for you tonight. Going to end with Seminole Mall. So Seminole Mall has come, as everybody knows, the Fresh Market has been in here for some time. That was approved through a development agreement. We took the red out of the Earth Fair, turned it into the green. Some new advancements. The Tuesday morning has moved out, and the M. Vincent's, I'm probably butchering that name, but we're getting another nail salon in that the Seminole Mall area. That's coming soon, so I think that's taking the place of the rack room shoes there. So remember we had the rack room next door to the shoe station. That was a little odd. My wife gave me all kinds of headaches about that, but Seminole Mall is completely occupied, and I don't have any more new tenants that are coming in that area, but it's thriving. We don't have vacant stores in Seminole Mall, which is a good thing. So, and I think that's all I have for you. Yeah.
Happy to see more landscape in those parking lots, so thank you for that.
Sure.
If anybody doesn't mind, hold your questions and we'll get up and move around and give Wes a break.
Sure.
But thank you, this was very, very